In this video, I'm going to show you how to add color to your personalized hand sculpture using colored paper. We will be applying the colored paper using the same product we used previously, which is our Elmer's Art Paste powder mixed with water. But before adding color, it's just really important to make sure that you have applied 2 to 3 layers of newspaper strips with the art paste, and that you also took time to build any three-dimensional forms by manipulating the newspaper into the forms desired and then securing them down onto your hand sculpture using additional strips of newspaper. Before moving on to color, also make sure that the newspaper strips have been securely smoothed down onto the hand sculpture. We will have a wide variety of colors of paper available to use in our classroom. You will need to use at least 3 different colors of colored paper in your design. It's very helpful to sketch a design first and to feel confident about your placement of your different colors. Think of your 3 or more colored paper colors as your base layer of color. Extra details and embellishments can be applied with various materials after you have color all over your hand and base. You can begin adding color in any location. I'm going to start on my base using black, so I took 1 sheet of black paper, and as you can see, I am tearing that paper into small pieces the size of my thumbprint. It's best to use the pieces of paper that have a very rough edge. This is because those rough edges will blend together very seamlessly, and you won't notice the separate pieces once the paper dries on your sculpture. Apply the pieces one at a time by dipping your fingers into the paste and smoothing it onto the paper. Then, place the colored paper in the location that you want it to go in. If you already have some pieces of colored paper applied, then you want to overlap a little bit of the edge of your new piece of paper on top of the edge of an older piece of paper. You don't want to lay them side by side because then you might have some newspaper show through. When working on your base, since you only need to apply the colored paper to the top of the base, still make sure that you carry that edge over and onto the bottom so that you have a smooth look all the way around the edge of your base. You can do this by putting half of your sheet of colored paper on the top part of the base and folding over the second half onto the bottom of the base. Make sure to look at the bottom of your base and see that your name is still visible and not covered by colored paper. And if it does get covered, rewrite it with a Sharpie or a pencil in a dry area. You can switch to different colors whenever you choose to, but when applying different colors, there's a trick to get a nice, smooth, clean edge where your colors meet. What you want to do is either use scissors to cut straight edges or find the edges of the original pieces of paper and apply the straight edges on top of a bit of another color to get that clean edge. Watch here, I have a smooth, clean edge here, and I'm going to apply it at the edge where I want the white to meet the yellow. And I'm gonna make that nice line continue with my next piece of white colored paper. It's important to take the time to make clean edges and breaks between colors because these are areas that are going to be highly noticeable to the eye. Your eye's gonna go directly to those places where the colors are changing. So again, take your time in these areas and use scissors or find those straight edges and make those breaks nice and clean. You might be thinking that this looks like a tedious method of color application, and you might want to cut some corners and tear larger pieces as you work. However, I want to persuade you to use smaller pieces because it ends up looking better because those small pieces help hold each other down. The reason we're using colored paper and not paint for the colored base of our sculpture is because the colored construction paper will dry that solid color that is uniform that you see on the paper. With paint, you have to deal with brush strokes and you see the newspaper come through. You have to apply multiple coats and it tends to have a messy look. But trust me, when the colored paper dries, you will be surprised at what a nice finish this can give. Plan on adding your colored paper for approximately 2 classes and then moving on to details and embellishments with paint, paint pens, collage, and even found objects.